ever since we finally got the trailer of Resident Evil 9 Requiem, and on YouTube we've had these videos about like 10 minutes gameplay about the game, I've been taking the time to go back and be playing my favorite Resident Evil games. I've already replayed like Resident Evil 3, 2, 4. I did a whole video about 7, and I just thought that since I did 7, to continue the story, I thought I would make a video of my opinions of Resident Evil 8 Village. Now, personally, I do not think that Resident Evil 8 is a horror game. It definitely... I wouldn't say that it's the weakest in the Resident Evil series. That title belongs to 5. 5 is awful. Even though a lot of people hate 6, I would say 6, in my opinion, is better than 5. Hey, what? But Resident Evil 8 definitely is not, in my opinion, not in the genre of horror for video games. I'd say it's more of a search and rescue like Resident Evil 4 was, except more of a kind of a psychological in the mind thing, whatever the name of that is, kind of a perception-like game of how, a cognitive game of how Ethan thinks his life is going so far. His search and rescue quest to find his daughter, that's what this game is about. And I just want to talk about it, because it may take a step down from horror, definitely not on the mark of what Resident Evil 7 was, but it's still a pretty good game. So you do have the option at the start of the game to have a brief recap of what happens in 7. It was 2 years. I've had my PlayStation 5 for 2 years now, and Resident Evil 8 was the first Resident Evil game I've ever really played all the way through. So I watched the recap from 7, that's what got me to play it. But you can choose to just skip that. If you played 7, you don't have to watch that. But if you haven't played 7, I would. Again, you don't have to, but it's nice to know what's going on with the continuation, because 8 picks up right where 7 left off. Anyway, it's been 3 years since Resident Evil 7 happened, since the Baker house in Louisiana thing. Mia and Ethan have done the dirty, the mookie. They have a kid now named Rose. And personally, we don't really know Mia's personality that much from 7. But honestly, the way that she treats Ethan in this game at the beginning, she's not a pleasant person, man.
We moved here so that she wouldn't have to deal with any of that, remember?
There's nothing wrong with my memory. You're just being paranoid.
It's not.
So, Ethan, it is fun though to be able to explore the house that Ethan and Mia are in. Like, they moved to Europe to be protected by Chris. They've had these trainings so nothing like Louisiana will happen again. It's fun to explore their house as Ethan's going to put Rose to bed. But he does come back to the kitchen after putting Rose to bed, and they're getting into a fight. Like, Mia's just like, nothing like that's ever gonna happen again. You're just being paranoid, boy. And the lights go out, Mia gets shot a bunch of times, and it's revealed that the person that was shooting at them is Chris Redfield.
Say what?
I can't imagine what people were thinking when they saw that Chris Redfield killed Mia. I'm sure that, like, this is the guy that there are people that who worship Resident Evil. They worship Chris Redfield. So to see him have, like, maybe become the villain for this game, they're probably going in their minds like,
No! No! No!
Anyway, I do love the voice acting in this. I don't know if this was motion capture with people in those suits behind the camera, like, cameras attached to their faces. I don't know if it was that, but some of these lines are just hilarious.
I said get your hands off her!
Ethan, no. No, Ethan! Bad boy! You cannot do that! Get down now!
The graphics in this game are so much better too. I mean, it does make sense. This game did come out in 2021, where Resident Evil Biohazard came out in 2017. So, the graphics are better. I do like the one bit where Ethan, he's like in the dark going through the forest in the snow. And I think it's kind of cool. It kind of reminds me of that one TV show, Alone. It's like the guy in the wilderness, he's naked or whatever, or a Bear Grylls or whatever. They're just in the wilderness trying to survive. That's what it reminds me of. So, Capcom did a good job with the Village, immersing us into this game. It's really cool. The graphics are amazing when Ethan first reaches the village. It's so cool to see how they did the graphics in this. Like, Ethan comes out of these woods, and it's just this giant village outside of this castle up in this, like, crater in the mountains. It's really cool to see. Even though it's a video game, you feel like you're in Germany or Austria or Spain or somewhere, because it just feels so real to see that landscape of the village. It's really cool. But it's also really cool to, well, it does give a creepy vibe to it as Ethan's first going through the village. I mean, there's these goat heads hanging from wires from the scene, from these like roofs of these buildings of the village. It's pretty creepy. And it's kind of creepy to be able to see these buildings run down in the village, how they've been destroyed. Like, it feels like it's been years since anyone's lived in the village. And this is where Ethan meets the very first person, where he like goes into this house where there's blood splatters all over the floor. And this one man's like, "Shush! We have to be quiet." And he gives Ethan a gun, and he fires at nothing, and the first creepy part of the game, he gets pulled up through the roof, and blood drips down, and this is when the action starts. Like, 25 minutes into the game is when the first action starts. So we're at 25 minutes into the game. Ethan finally encounters the first enemy. It's not zombies, even though they do seem to eat flesh. They're called Lycans, which I guess are a hybrid between a human and a wolf, so they're like, instead of zombies, it's werewolves in the game. That's what I like about this game too. It's like more than just zombies in this game. There are zombies, but there's like vampires and werewolves. They really went creative in the enemies of this game, which I'm not complaining about. It made it really fun with the environment the way it is. So to have creative enemies like that, it was cool. The hardest part of the game is like right when Ethan gets to the village, when he meets the first enemy as the Lycans. This is probably the hardest part because he has a super crap weapon, and like all these Lycans are shooting flaming arrows at him. They're attacking him from the ground, and he's running around the village. It's cool to explore the village, like the rivers and everything, but there's locked gates, the buildings are collapsed, you can't really go anywhere, but you can barricade yourself in buildings. They're like 2-story, so you can run them up, get ammo and stuff. And I think like it's only supposed to be like a 5-minute fight sequence, but just depending on the difficulty you have at the game as, it can feel a lot longer. It's really hard, but it's intense with the music and everything. It's really great. Anyway, Ethan is captured by basically this Magneto guy after he survives the Lycan attack. He's brought to this council where he's introduced to the 4 villains of the main game. It's like Lady Dimitriscu, Heisenberg, this evil doll lady, and this creepy fish man. And Heisenberg, he actually like lets Ethan go because he just wants to see how tough Ethan is. And it's fun being able to run through the tunnels and escape these enemies and to escape these booby traps. It's pretty cool. So after escaping Heisenberg and the tunnels, Ethan ends up going to the castle, and he ends up getting captured again. And the ones that are captured are actually Lady Dimitriscu's daughters. And honestly, I know everyone's like, Lady Dimitriscu is this like 8-foot tall albino sexy woman, but man, those daughters of her are fine.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, Ethan's captured by the daughters again. He escapes. And I love the castle. The castle is like probably the coolest area that you can be in. The second coolest actually. But it's fun. Once you get to like the cells of the game and the like dungeons, you can see there's like medieval torture weapons. There's different enemies you can fight. Like there's another part of the game where you're like in these cellars, like, I don't know what you would call it, but he's going through like these flooded pathways where these enemies will jump out of the water, and I'm not sure what liquid it is he's running through. Could be blood and water, but even though I don't know what it is, it's never really specified. I'm pretty sure it's blood. But I don't think it's cranberry juice.
I don't know, but I don't think it's pumpkin juice.
As you go on through the castle, you collect these masks, and each mask you collect, you fight one of Dimitriscu's daughters. And it's fun fighting their daughters, because they like turn into these bugs, and they'll appear right in front of you and attack you. And so you gotta attack at the right moment, you gotta figure out their weakness, and you got this intense music going on. It makes it a really fun fight. But in the end, Lady Dimitriscu is probably the funnest boss fight because her final form, she turns into this dragon thing. And she like grabs you and you have this view as she's flying you over the castle. You end up fighting her on top of the rooftops. Like, you can use just normal guns shooting at her. There's parts where she'll be flying around the castle, and you'll use the sniper rifle to shoot down these vampires flying around the castle, and you can use the rifle to shoot at her flying around the castle. It's a really fun fight. One of the funnest boss fights Resident Evil has had. Really fun. So after Lady Dimitriscu, Ethan runs into this old lady that kind of guides him along the game, kind of gives him these riddles. And you find out later in the game, I'm not going to give any spoilers to that, but it's kind of shocking who she turns out to be. That's all I'm going to say about it. It's shocking who she really is. Anyway, Ethan's like on this quest. He finds out that he needs to get 4 pieces of rose to get get her back to like being whole. Like, she has different parts in these chalices, like her head, her body, her legs, and her arms. And each of the 4 bosses of this game have a chalice that have a body part. So he has to go through the village to get the chalices to put his daughter back together. The second area of the game is really what brought me back to the feeling of Resident Evil 7 Biohazard. It's where you fight the creepy doll lady, but going to her house is one thing that messes with the mind, because it's all foggy and it's snowy up in the mountains, and like Ethan's having these visions as he's going down this dirt trail of Mia just saying that Ethan basically failed her. But what's really cool is that going inside the house where the boss is, because you can tell the creators of this game definitely did their research of old European houses, because you have these old-fashioned furniture, old decor, old like lamps and everything that were used in like the Middle Ages. It's really cool to see how much research was put into this game. Anyway, this part of the game's more on just like thinking things through and survival, because Ethan's in this basement, which is kind of creepy. Like, it's these doll pieces hanging from the ceiling. There's this doll of Mia that Ethan has to, like, investigate. Like, he'll remove these different parts, like the arms, and he'll cut through, like, bandages. He'll look in the doll's mouth to find these different clues to help him escape the house. And there's this one part where he has to put together this, projector movie, and I got serious Sinister, the movie Sinister with Ethan Hawke, I got serious vibes from that. It's really cool. Once you get the movie put together, it's just another clue of how to get out of the house. But what's really creepy is that the further Ethan gets, like the last section, there's this like baby creature thing that's hunting Ethan. It's super creepy because Ethan has to hide in lockers, he'll hide under beds to avoid it, and you can hear Ethan's heartbeat through your controller as you play, and you can hear him heavily breathing, and the closer the creature gets, you can feel its like footsteps in the controller as well. It's really creepy. Super horror-like vibes to it, and I loved it. The boss fight is pretty fun. It's a hide-and-seek thing. Like, the evil bride doll thing is like what Ethan's looking for. And you're just going through the house looking for it while it plays this creepy doll music. But the longer you take in trying to find the main doll, the other dolls are around the house will like start to shake like they're coming alive, and they'll literally come right in front of the camera and attack Ethan if he takes too long in finding the main doll. So it's a boss fight about timing as well as skill. It's pretty cool though. What I do like is that there are zombies in this game after you beat the second boss, the doll lady, and you're going back to the village. Like, these creatures with sickles, they'll attack Ethan. They'll fall from the trees, or they'll just come walking out of the woods, or they'll literally be popping up out of the ground while you can just shoot at them. But it's really creepy, but really funny at the same time, because their arm will just like, this is the ground, and their arm will just pop out of it. It's pretty awesome, I'm not gonna lie. I enjoyed that part. Alright, like I said, there are werewolves in this game, and one of the enemies is literally a werewolf that Ethan runs into, and seriously, like, there's a cutscene of him just being mauled by the werewolf, and it's seriously like Leonardo DiCaprio and the bear from that movie, The Revenant. It's actually pretty terrifying. The next boss is the water boss. It's pretty stupid. It's just like Ethan's in this flooded area of the village. He has to shoot down some planks to get around this flooded lake so the fish doesn't eat him. And the fight, and what I hate is it has this little puzzle where it's like these metal gates that you have to pull these levers to raise up, but the gates will only stay up for like 20 seconds, and you have to reach other levers to pull them down to match the timing so they don't go underwater. If you do, Ethan gets eaten by the fish. And the main fish guy he's really stupid. He's just gross. Like, he's just this morbid creature covered in fish eyeballs and fish eggs with tentacles coming out of his back. And he throws up like this green vomit stuff. He gets eaten by the fish. And the fight isn't even fun, really. It's just this rock maze basically that you're just shooting at. the fish guy whenever he comes out of the giant fish's mouth. Though I will say it is fun to see him die, because he just explodes. His death is like the only fun part of the game. Other than that, he was my least favorite boss of the game. Least favorite. Heisenberg's story is pretty fun to go against, I'm not gonna lie. Like, he wants to see how strong Ethan is. So again, you're like in this castle area, and to get the chalice with your daughter's body part, like you just have to take on all these Lycans, which honestly is really cool. It's fun just running around these catacombs and these different like broken archways and these remnants of these watchtowers, and just like blow up these powder kegs and ride these zip lines and avoid these arrows being shot at you by these Lycans to finally kill this one enemy is pretty great. Like, I use the sniper rifle to take him out, but there is one gun through the game that you can get that makes him really easy to take out. But it's really fun to just fight all these Lycans. Really cool to explore this abandoned, destroyed castle while fighting all these enemies at once. Honestly, that was really fun. Then the game gets boring again. You just go through Heisenberg's factory, which didn't really offer anything. It was just fighting the same enemies, but they've been like robotized, I would say. But his fight is really fun. He becomes like this giant metal demon, and Ethan has like this tank machine gun thing with a chainsaw on it, and you're going ham fighting Heisenberg in the rain. Super cool, super fun. And then the game takes a total 360 turn where you get to play as Chris Redfield, which is pretty awesome. Completely random, but it's pretty awesome because it's more just action. I mean, it definitely feels like a Call of Duty game at this point, because Chris has such powerful weapons, like a machine gun and an Uzi and grenades and everything. And it is so cool because you're just running through the village, destroying these Lycans, and you can run through these buildings, and Chris will like switch his vision to night vision so the screen will go green, and it is super fun to fight the Lycans with the night vision. Super fun to fight the Lycans on the rooftops of the village where they're where you can get nice headshots in to make their heads explode. Super fun to play as Chris through that part. Really fun on Capcom. They made a great decision to be able to play as Chris. Even though it was like 10-minute gameplay, really fun to play as him. So after Chris's heroic moment, we go back to Ethan finally taking on Mother Miranda, and she's actually a really fun boss. Like, she's this really thin creature woman. She's controlling like these trees, and you're just shooting at her. She can also like create these fireballs halfway through the battle that she can use to throw at you. But if you use the sniper rifle and like these different types of guns, you can easily take her out. But it's a super fun fight, and it has the feeling like, okay, everything that Ethan has done has led up to this final fight. He has to beat her to save his daughter. Chris has put his life on the line for Ethan to have this final chance to not only save Rose, but to put an end to Mother Miranda. It has such a great epic final chapter feeling to it that you just gotta love the boss fight. No matter if you are a fan of Resident Evil or not, it's a boss fight that you're gonna love either way. Super cool. So the last part of the game basically is cutscenes, which is kind of lame. Like, Ethan kills Mother Miranda, and Chris is like, alright, Ethan, we gotta go. I put a bomb in this parasite thing that is going to, when I blow it up, it's gonna destroy the village, we gotta go. And Ethan, he's like so weak, he's basically dead. And he's just like, no. Chris, you go. Tell me I love her. Take care of Rose. And he's just like, goodbye, Rosemary. And Chris ends up just leaving, and Mia's like, where's my husband? Chris, where's my husband? And then there's the explosion, and the game ends with like the typical Resident Evil ending into a sunset instead of a happy ending. It's a really sad ending. But then if you watch until it's like after the credits, we get a grown-up Rose, or like a teenage Rose. She's visiting Ethan's grave, and she's called in for another assignment by Chris's men. And that's gonna be leading into, hopefully, Resident Evil Requiem. Personally, I loved Resident Evil Village. Definitely not scary, definitely not boring, definitely high up there though. I really liked it. Anyway, that's the video. I hope Rose is gonna be in Requiem. She's a really cool character. But, yeah, we're gonna see what happens with the game. Anyway, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe. I would really appreciate it. And yeah, we'll see you next time. Have a good day.